Hey, what is going on everyone? In today's video, I want to talk about Eternaland in Once Human. In Beta 3, we got our first look at Eternaland, and I still see a lot of questions on how it will work. So in this video, we'll cover everything we know so far with Eternaland, but since the game isn't out yet, all of these things are of course subject to change. All this information either came from official sources or just from my own personal experience with Eternaland in Beta 3, so I've listed the sources in the description down below if you are interested. Before we dive in though, if this video ends up helping you out, definitely drop a like to help support the channel. Your support on my Once Human content has been incredible, and I really do appreciate all the love. Now first off, what is Eternaland? Eternaland is essentially a private island separate from the main world of the game that every player can have in Once Human. This island apparently has no building restrictions, and you are welcome to build anywhere you would like on the island. Now you might be wondering, what is the point then of Eternaland if I can already build a base in the main world of the game? Well, Eternaland exists basically because of the seasonal wipe system that Starry Studio has in place. Many players were very concerned, and rightly so, about losing their bases and items when a new season started, so Eternaland is the developer's solution for that. Later in the video, we'll cover what kinds of things are wiped between seasons and what things you'll end up keeping, but for now, just know that Eternaland is a permanent private island that won't get affected by seasonal wipes. Now, Eternaland isn't just something that every player has access to right out of the gate. It is something that needs to be unlocked. Now, to unlock it, you'll want to make sure you have access to Greywater Camp and you start the main quest that leads you to the Mirage Monolith. This is where the giant spider boss lives. Once you complete that quest and defeat that boss, you can head back to Greywater Camp and the game will teach you about Eternaland from there. After you've unlocked Eternaland through that quest, there are two main ways to enter your island. The first way is while in-game, you can hit escape and go to the top right where there is an island icon. Simply click on that to launch Eternaland and go to your island. The second way is through the main menu of Once Human. You'll have an option to just jump straight into Eternaland without going to your server first. Alright, now let's get to the meat of it all. How does Eternaland work? I mentioned earlier in the video that Eternaland is the developer's solution to seasonal wipe concerns. So what exactly will get wiped between seasons? I actually go into more detail on this in my recent video covering everything you need to know for launch, so I've linked that down below if you are interested. But basically, there are three main categories here. Things that are tied to your character that won't get wiped, things that must be transferred to Eternaland so they won't get wiped, and lastly, things that will end up getting wiped. So let's take a look at some in-game screenshots from the beta showing items that fit into those three categories. Now obviously these are subject to change, but I think it's a good indication of what launch will end up being like. Also, shout out to Macy Wick on YouTube for showcasing these things on her channel. I've linked it down below if you would like to support her. So firstly, here are items that will be tied to your character and don't get wiped. Things like Starcrom, blueprints, mods, cosmetics, and more listed here. Now here are things that can be transferred to Eternaland, things like your crafted weapons and armor and materials like ores, logs, medicine, and more. And lastly, here are the things that will get wiped at the end of the season. Your character level, energy links, map and silo progress, and seasonal challenge progress will all be wiped. So if this is an accurate representation of what ends up getting wiped, I'd have to say that it's good to see most things can still be retained between seasons. Now, one of those categories was about transferring items to Eternaland, so you may be wondering how that works. So towards the end of a season, players will enter a settlement phase where you'll be able to transfer items to Eternaland using your base terminal. You are able to transfer an unlimited amount of weapons, armor, materials, ammo, and medicine to Eternaland, but transferring items back to the main server will cost material points. And that brings up another core part of Eternaland. It has its own points or currency system. There are three main points or currencies, whatever you would like to call it, that are tied to Eternaland: Astral Sand, Astriolite, and Material Points. So let's talk about Material Points since I already brought that one up. Material points are solely used to bring items from Eternaland to your main server. There will be a set amount of material points that you can use per season, and they will refresh each season. In Beta 3, it showed 100,000 material points as the max, but I'm unsure if that will be the number for launch. Next up, we have Astral Sand. This is likely going to be the main focus for you in Eternaland because Astral Sand is the only material needed to craft items in Eternaland. So whether you want to build some walls or craft a synthesis bench, you're going to need Astral Sand to do it. Now there are two main ways that we know of where you can earn Astral Sand. The first way is just by selling materials that you've transferred to Eternaland at the Eternaland shop. Now, I'm not 100% sure on every type of item that you will be able to sell, but I would imagine that you can sell anything that you end up transferring over. However, I've only tested it personally with fish and different types of food that I've grown at my base. The second way to earn Astral Sand is by completing weekly orders, very similar to the way the weekly commissions work on the main server. These weekly orders will require you to collect and deliver certain resources such as wheat, fish, berries, and more. Completing these orders will grant you with Astral Sand and Astriolite. Astriolite, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, is the third type of currency. It is exclusively used for buying island decor, I'll call it, such as trees and stones. It basically allows you to customize the environment of your Eternaland island, which gives me a little bit of like Animal Crossing vibes. So here's how it works in a nutshell. Toward the end of a season, all players will enter a settlement phase, allowing them to transfer materials, weapons, armor, ammo, and medicine to the Eternaland Depot. You can then sell those materials to receive Astral Sand, which will allow you to build structures and facilities on your island. You can also choose to complete the weekly orders, which will net you more Astral Sand and give you Astriolite. You can then use the Astriolite to customize the environment of your island. At the start of the next season, you'll be able to withdraw items from your Eternaland Depot, so you don't need to start from scratch, but it will cost you material points to transfer items back into the main world. Some other things to also keep in mind for Eternaland are that you will be able to invite friends to your island and vice versa. So Eternaland will give you the freedom to build racetracks, carnivals, and really anything your heart desires, so I think it's pretty cool that you can also experience that with friends. And for those wondering, you will be able to control permissions for what visitors can do on your island, as well as some other things like setting the time of day and weather. You'll also be able to share building blueprints with others, so if someone built a really cool structure on their island, you'll be able to download it and place that structure on your island. We're not really sure if there will be like a community structure browser or how that will work, but honestly it just seems like a pretty neat idea to be able to share blueprints. They even said that some of the community-made designs may end up on the official map for the game one day, which is just a really great incentive to build some creative island. So that's pretty much everything that we know so far about Eternaland. If there's anything I missed, please drop a comment down below and let me know. I think Eternaland is a really interesting concept, and I personally haven't played a game with this sort of system before, although I'm sure that they're out there. I'm really curious to know how bases will end up looking in the main server after just a few seasons. Will bases in the main game end up being function over form while people put their creativity into their Eternaland island instead? Or will I still be driving past amazing looking bases in the main servers? I guess time will only tell for that. Also, as a reminder, I will be live streaming the launch of Once Human on July 9th on both YouTube and Twitch, so be sure to follow along if you would like to. We're building a pretty awesome community over on Discord as well, so feel free to join the community with the link below. Thank you so much for all your support on my videos, I really do appreciate it, and I will catch you in the next video.